how long does it actually take to become a mortgage broker after you get CeMAP? That's what we're going to answer today. I think CeMAP is obviously the first hurdle. And then once you get past CeMAP, most advisors then go, what on earth do I do next? Or the most want to be brokers, they're not really brokers at this point, literally go, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. What should I do next? And so that's what hopefully we're going to answer today, because it's a really interesting concept. Because and I was chatting to Charlotte Hemingway, who's one of my clients and an amazing, phenomenal person down at Future and Finance. So if you're looking for help with your CeMAP and you haven't got that way, you should go and check her stuff out. She's even got a code. If you use ASH50, she'll give you £50 off of her courses. We were chatting about this in one of our calls, and I was saying that there's this gap in the middle. She works with people who are doing CeMAP, and I work with people who have established themselves as mortgage advisors, and they're normally doing about 100 grand a year, and we're going to make them make a lot more. We're going to take them to be able to build a true lifestyle business, the business that most of you will have come into the industry to get. But I said, but there's this messy middle, which is becoming an advisor. You got the qualification, you got to become one. So how long does it take? And so let's unpack that. So it can be instant, but it can also be a long time. So the instant side of it is if you're going to work for a corporate, a Connells, for example, a Countrywide, something like that, they might even put you through your exams. So you might instantly just get picked straight up, and then they put you through the exams, you do the exams, you carry on. That was my experience. That's what I did. So they put me through my exams, and I was in the job before I was qualified. So I was shadowing people, and then once we qualified, I was done. So instant can be some cases if you're going through that employed route. If you're looking for an employed route, but you've got the CeMAP first, that can be a bit harder, because if you're looking for employed, finding employed roles is very difficult, especially when you don't have CAS, which stands for Competent Advisor Status. Now that means that in the eyes of the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, they see you as what is known as a competent advisor. They see you as somebody who's competent to give mortgage advice. That is only really obtainable by somebody else who is already at CAS status. So either that's a network or that's you work under somebody. It can be different things. But you've got to get that before you can be what is classed as a fully fledged mortgage advisor, because technically you're still under someone else's supervision until that point. That's the bit that's hard. Is getting employed can be okay, but you're going to have to put you through CAS there. But you've got to find jobs that are available outside of those corporate jobs. And even with those corporate jobs, it can be quite difficult, because if you let's take an example like a Connells or a Countrywide or a Sequence or something like that, which is these big estate agency based mortgage brokers. That's where I started. There's like 8 people working in the estate agency branch that I worked in at one point. So there's 8 people and then 1 mortgage advisor. So there's 8 estate agents or support staff within that and 1 mortgage advisor. So the actual job roles are very, very, very few, and sometimes a mortgage advisor might cover 2 branches. So there might be 16 people covering one mortgage advisor. So the roles are less available. So you got to find people locally within your area. It can take a while, and that can take months. It could take years, depending on what you're doing. So with people like that, if you're interested in that space, I'd normally recommend you go and get a job as an estate agent. If you want to work in there and you say, look, I'm an estate agent, but I want to be a broker, I'll be looking for that, but I'm happy to work with you. I would be really open with that. That's kind of how I started. So I got into it and was an estate agent for a few years. Can't remember how long now. I'm trying to think. Doesn't really matter. But I became a mortgage broker once I was ready and there was time. So that's one way of doing it, is how long it takes. It can be quite quick. Now, on a self-employed route, again, you got to find someone. But you can do it very quick if you want to go to somewhere. There's like networks like Connect for intermediaries. They take you on without CAS. They'll put you through CAS. But you can go straight away. But that's only part of the job. Getting onto a network is one part. But then you have the next bit, which is actually becoming a broker. And a broker is somebody who actually does the job properly. This is what me and Charlotte were chatting about. Is I was saying that the way I describe it is like I called it the death beach. Do you know what I mean by that is, remember like the turtles, and they've got the turtles in the egg, and they hatch out of the egg and they're trying to get to the ocean, and there's that beach where everything just tries to kill them. Do you remember that? So it's like the seagulls and the crabs and everything. Well, I was saying to Charlotte, I said the egg is her. She's the person who's helping them take the exams, pass the CeMAP, and the turtles are emerging from the egg. I said, and I'm the ocean. I'm helping them swim off and go far. And it's that death beach in the middle that is the hardest bit to navigate. And I think it's really important that mortgage brokers or potential mortgage brokers understand this is quite hard. Lots of people who pass their exams do not succeed as mortgage advisors, a lot, because it gets difficult once you pass the exam, because the hockey stick learning curve is there. It's very, very hard job. The opportunities there's a lot of opportunities for mortgages, but then the opportunity to get a role can be very hard, depending on how specific you want to be. If you're very broad and you're happy to work, then you can go on any job site and there's loads of job roles. But if you're very specific about your needs, which is what I get messages, they're like, I need to make X amount of money, or I need to do, then it gets much, much harder. So again, there's lots of opportunity, but it's about your situation, whether you can take that. And I do get a lot of messages about that, saying like, I can't afford to, many people say I need to make 60 grand a year, 50 grand a year. And you're not going to go straight into mortgage advice and never make that. It's just not going to happen, really. It's very rare. It can happen, but very rare. And so there's that, you've got to get the job. Once you get the job, then you've got to learn the job, which is hard. And then if you go self-employed, for example, you then have to learn how to generate leads, which is really hard, because especially if you are not known. So one of the biggest advice I can give to somebody who's like starting out with this is try, get to be known as much as possible, because you're the factor of lead generation and success as a self-employed mortgage advisor, and how fast it will take is purely down to how many people you know already. So if you've got a large friendship circle and social circle, or maybe you've got community you worked in previously, like you're in police or in the army or in the military of any kind, brilliant. But if you're somebody who's a bit of an introvert and you're quiet and you don't really have many, like, quote, not friends, but like you're not a big friendship person, you're small, very close friends, you will struggle. That's me. That's why I say that. I was that guy. I have a very tight-knit group of friends, small group of friends, and I struggled a lot at the beginning, which is why I started making videos. I don't struggle now because I have a large community, but I had to build it because I didn't have it. So that's really important to also understand as well. So how long does it take? It could be instant. It could be never. It really comes down to how proactive you want to be, what you're willing to accept at the beginning, and how aggressive you want to be at getting that off the ground, and to understand that can you survive that death beach? Because if you can, you'll smash it. But if you can't, sadly, quite a lot of people don't succeed. And I think I want to be honest about it. I don't think people are that honest about it. And so, yeah, that's going to be my advice to you. Now, if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you like this video too. So give it a click, give it a watch, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.